What's going on, guys? I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're doing good. The current day that we're living in is a shit show. Oh my god, the amount of fuckery that's happened to the world is a bit mad. I consider myself very lucky and fortunate enough to be able to sit and talk into a camera in the way that I'm doing now, and also to have known all of you, the ones who I know who are watching, and to have made many cool memories with some of you. So, it's 2020, and a lot of people are sort of in a transitional point in their life where they either need to pick up new skills or look at themselves and realize that they have skills that they can utilize in order to give themselves a sustainable way of living. And I'm basically going to tell you a story about me, and then I'm going to tell you where I currently am when it comes to career, making money, and trying to live a sustainable life, doing something in the realms of what I'm interested in pursuing as a career. So let's go back to 2019, where I was depressed. I wasn't clinically diagnosed with depression. I just assumed I was depressed because some of the things that make up depression I felt I was going through. To give you an example, I was doing the daily mundane, going out, earning a living through the day job, coming home procrastinating, feeling like I had no control over my life. Anyways, I was working at an escape room. I'd been working there for a couple of years. I met a bunch of lovely people, had many amazing experiences, and made some really, really cool memories. But the bottom line of everything was I felt like I was living to survive and not living to benefit anyone else's life other than my own and the people that I was serving through the escape games that I would host and the employers, and trying to be a good teammate as a part of the workforce. So I was doing my thing, and one of the bosses that was training to become a life coach was gracious enough to give me some guidance in the form of one-to-one sessions every couple of weeks. So I had these sessions, and at the end of it all, I felt like I had a bit more sense of direction as to where I should be going with my life. The key thing I took away was that I have a future ahead of me, and that my future was going to be manipulated by the things that I had done in the present moment. So I should be working on my passions and looking for a way to sustain my passions and also be giving value to people, which would then reinforce my way of living, because my way of living back then was shit. Flash forward a couple of months, and we ended up in a pandemic, a global pandemic. The coronavirus had fucked everything. And luckily, I was already aware of it from the get go because I'd been watching these YouTubers talk about it. So I was prepared, but I didn't think things would get as bad as they currently are and have been for the past year. But before that happened, I managed to try out a few other jobs, and I was very fortunate to have had the experiences that I had. One of the things that I noticed while doing those other jobs is that I kept meeting people that I just enjoyed meeting people and having conversations with people outside of the confines of the day job that I had been working. And that gave me a bit of a boost when it came to talking about things I was passionate about and things that I had been working on. That happens. I'm still at the day job, but I'm taking on these other job roles outside of that day job. So I'm doing a good couple other jobs at the same time. And none of them were really doing it for me. Like I enjoyed some of the people that I'd met, and some of the things that I'd done was quite fun, especially working as bar staff for the BBC proms. That was a really, really amazing time. But I just wasn't satisfied. The pandemic hits in 2020, and as of February and March, the UK goes into a lockdown. This is the first lockdown that it's been in since the virus had been spreading. And so my way of doing things had come from a positive place because I was still sort of thinking about all the previous jobs that I had done. I basically decided that with the time that I now had, I decided that I would binge watch a bunch of Skillshare videos and that I would try and help people make music videos, which I was kind of in the middle of doing. Like I had two friends that I had agreed to make a music video for. But this gave me something to do while in lockdown, and then it snowballed into another music video project. Like I was doing another music video project for someone else that I didn't imagine happening. This gave me more things to talk about while I socialized with people. Fast forward a couple of months, and the first lockdown has ended. I decided to mix with the parkour people because I was dying to just cathartically jump off walls and be creative in a free running sort of way. And one of the free runners that I ended up training with let me know that they were starting up a freelance collective called Matte Black London. Matte Black London is currently what I'm doing. If you've seen my Instagram stories and I've got Matte Black London tagged in it, or they've tagged me, this is the collective that my friend was thinking of starting up at the time. So on the 30th of August 2020, I had a conversation with a friend of mine. We're walking along Vauxhall to get to a food place because we wanted to get some Nando's. And while we walk, we're talking. I'm talking about how I've no clue what I'm doing, but I am making music videos because that's something I'm interested in. And I wanted to be more involved in the creative scene when it comes to making video content. And he's telling me that he's been wanting to start off a brand, but a brand that is for like-minded people, like creative people. And this is what he tells me about Matte Black London. And he invites me to their first meeting. From that day onwards, in my head, I'm thinking, holy shit, I've possibly set myself up for better projects to be working on. So Friday the 4th of September is the day where we had our meeting. And about a week or two after that, I had my first Matte Black London job. And it was on set for Still Bangles. Still Bangles is a UK grime and UK hip hop producer who's made beats for some really, really amazing UK talent. So that was my first Spark job. We are currently in 2021, February, and I've done a fair handful of Spark jobs. And I've actually done my own gaffing job as well, where I got to gaff a music video. And I'm also making music videos with family members now who now know that I can do this. They've seen my work on social media, so they know that I'm good for it. And they're paying me money too. All this to say, if you have a passion, be it a creative passion or a hands-on DIY sort of thing, or anything, if you have something that you're working on, you should share it with people because you don't know where gift of the gab will get you. Word of mouth is such a powerful tool when it comes to communicating someone's worth or your own worth. And it's done me well between the start of the virus, the viral pandemic, and now, where had I not had these conversations and pursued my creative career when I did, I may have been much worse off over the past year due to only relying on the day job. Now I'm relying on the day job and I'm relying on passions to kind of get me through this dark time. And it is getting me through this dark time. And yeah, I hope to continue and improve upon this craft that I am now using to survive. So if there's any takeaway from this video, I would urge you all to have a look at yourself, what you're doing, what you like to do, what you don't like to do. Give yourself a sense of direction and some things to work towards. Maybe you have some goals that you want to achieve within the next 5 years, or maybe you know that you want to be in a different place in the next 10 years. Maybe looking at the things that you like doing now might help you build something that might last a lifetime. You won't know until you try, and you won't know until you start sharing and speaking whatever it is that you are passionate about, instead of scrolling on Instagram. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. If you found this video useful or insightful, or you know someone who might find it useful or insightful, please share it with whoever it is that you feel may need to hear what I've had to say. If you're interested in more of what I have to say, then subscribe. I have a video series that I'm in the middle of making that is about photography and certain photographers that have taken photos that have basically had an impact on all of us, whether you know it or not. I'm also going to be talking a bit more about my freelance job as a gaffer slash spark. I'm also going to be talking about general thoughts that come into my mind every now and again. It could be things to do with things in the most recent news, or it could be things that I'm looking at elsewhere in the world, or things that just go on in my brain, my life, basically. because I have nothing better to do. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.